Saki mbwembwana kwele mchele kwa kuku kumwaga. Zako na wapenda yatusema nitasikia.
Hi, my name's Hana, and I'm a second year law student at the University of Bristol in the UK. So, the decision to study law stemmed from me being a third culture kid, moving around from developing countries such as Iran and India, and that not only broadened my horizons, but made me realize that the people outside my little expat bubble weren't living. Most of them were simply existing without their voices being heard. This doesn't only include your economic despairs. I'm talking about your aspirations, opinions, the everyday social issues they experience. When I hopefully become the lawyer I've always wanted to be one day, I know I'm not going to be able to help every single person from an underprivileged background, but I know that I'll be in a position to effect positive change one way or another. So I heard that this video will mostly be towards you scholars, and I'd like to simply take this time first to acknowledge the amount of work and effort that all of you must have put in to be where you are currently, and I truly admire that. This video isn't going to be some promotional video to the study of law or a law degree, but it's hopefully going to give you a little insight to a sector that, to me, encompasses all aspects of life. And perhaps this might pique your interest and kickstart a passion in you that will not only help yourself, but help many people around you. Because the ones who know how it feels like to be marginalized, oppressed, lacking representation would be the best people to know how important it is to be a voice to the voiceless. So, to prevent myself from becoming into a lazier couch potato this quarantine, I've been interning at a firm for the past month, and it's spurred my passion further for medical law, an area that I've always found interesting. Working on a case surrounding medical negligence of a doctor who ironically passed away during this lawsuit was a very trying yet rewarding process. It's one thing to learn about the fundamentals of the law in school and knowing that theoretically, lawyers will be equipped with the necessary experience to help. But that practical first-hand experience I gained just solidified the idea that in the end, someone's quality of life will improve immensely. In this case, if the suit was won, she would have won $2 million to sustain her on medication that she now needs due to the doctor's carelessness. I was also exposed to family law, specifically divorce cases. And yes, while it reaffirmed the importance of separating your emotions over hard legal principles and the facts of the case, especially when it comes to child custody, it also made me realize the law strongly protects the role of women. As a huge feminist myself, I try my best to spread awareness and ensure that those difficult conversations and discussions occur to open the minds of others. I also know I can't solve the pay gap overnight, nor can I change everyone's mentality on rape being partly the victim's fault. I can't change that when a woman does the same thing as a man, she's labeled in a negative manner. He's assertive. She's just bossy, a bitch. Wow, he's so passionate. This is why we can't have her in charge. She's too emotional. She's probably on her period. But what I can change is letting a woman know her rights when a marriage falls apart. The money and type of property she's entitled to, the extent of her care and control of her children, the quality of life that will be accessible to her after separation from, for example, an abusive spouse, where a protection order is in place. The law doesn't discriminate between the type of woman you are, be it your religion, socioeconomic status, ethnicity. So, being a lawyer blesses you with this knowledge and ability to highlight the available routes a woman can take. It's one aspect that makes me proud to study what I'm studying currently. Yes, all of the above sounds all shiny eyed and idealistic, where you can make the world a better place. And yes, of course you can. But you also have to know that there will always be limits. Because ultimately, The rule of law is not only to ensure that society functions for its citizens' private lives, but it's also meant to hold the other branches of a nation accountable. Even though it might not seem like there's a huge hierarchical difference, theoretically, you would have the judiciary at the top to check the workings of parliament, who can then change the law, and the executive to put the law into action. This system of checks and balances is to ensure that no branch abuses their power. But here in my country, Singapore, there doesn't seem to be a fair system in place where the different bodies uphold the rule of law to keep each branch in check. In my opinion, as much as Singapore is a first world nation, its citizens are deprived of their basic human rights, specifically its freedom of expression. One example would be that civil workers in the front line, that includes nurses, police officers, and other civil workers, are not allowed to don the Islamic hijab while working. Isn't this a violation of one's freedom of expression? A violation of not only a UN's absolute right, but also a constitutional right? Our political opposition leader was charged with defamation by former Prime Ministers of Singapore for simply questioning the opacity of a transaction that involved 10 billion US dollars. Other government critics have also been on the receiving end of large damage libel suits for advocating on democratic values, better conditions for workers, and basic human rights. These constant defamation proceedings against these critics impair the right of Singaporeans to fully engage in professions that carry with them the duty to be critical of the government. I introduced to you just a snippet of the current political climate, just to show you that the law isn't all sunshines and rainbows everywhere. You're not going to have an unlimited deal of power, but why do nothing at all when you can help at least 70% of societal aspects? If it's important to you to stand your ground when you or someone that matters to you is wronged, or you put in your best work by paying attention to details, if you love debating and you can communicate your thoughts and ideas in a coherent and effective manner, if you're unafraid of hard work, only to be rewarded physically and mentally, try the law out. Perhaps you'd find your calling there. Thanks for watching.
Nanipaga moyo nikianza kulia chozi nafutia.